Well, hello, and welcome everyone to 2020 and our first BG5 Live of 2020. So it's great to have all of you with us, joining us here in our BG5 room, joining us here on Facebook Live, or visiting us via the YouTube or Vimeo. So great to have you all here. And again, welcome to 2020. So today is January 7th, 2020. This is episode number 35. We're going to be focusing on trait 54, but we're going to do it in the context of really bringing in the new year. So we're going to be taking a look at the 5 steps to start the new year right. And Nathalie wrote an incredible article. And so we're just kind of going to walk through, in a sense, fleshing out that article and talking a little bit more about those steps. And so today we're going to just do step 1 and step 2 of the 5 steps. And then we will continue to go through the steps in the following week. So today we're going to get that started. So before we jump in and get that started, let's say hello to our panel. Welcome back, and great to see your faces once again here in BG5 Live. So hello, Nathalie. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here. It feels like a magical year. So it's so fun to start this, year and this decade. And yeah, I'm really happy to be back on air.
Yeah. So not only are we starting a new year, we're starting a new decade as well. Yeah. And we're starting the 7-year countdown to 2027 also. Very cool. Well, welcome, Nathalie and Lavina. Hey, Lavina, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to 2020. Glad to be here. Glad to be here with all of you. Thanks for joining us.
Wonderful. And Chris just moved, and so she's still getting her internet settled. So she may or may not be able to join us, but she's not here right now. So I don't think she'll be able to connect and join us for our first BG5 Live of the year. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. Again, what we're taking a look at are the 5 steps to start the New Year's off right. And we're going to really focus in on step 1 and step 2. So we wanted to kind of give you the basics as well. And so what we've been taking a look at in BG5 Live is we've been focused on the traits. So there are a total of 64 traits. And this, in a sense, is the cycle. Sort of the cycle that we go through each year in taking a look at all of the traits. So in taking a look at this new year cycle, and you can see it moves counterclockwise, in taking a look at this new year cycle, again, we're going to be taking a look at the 5 stages. And now, one of the things that you will notice as we're taking a look at moving into 2020, even before we move into it, that there is a lot of pressure. So you may be feeling a lot of pressure. There's a lot of physical pressure. We're also going to be moving into mental pressure as well during this time period. And so in Nathalie's article, which was so beautifully written, one of the things to take a look at is, we are under a lot of pressure right now. And depending on how you deal with pressure, whether you have drive and stamina defined or not, you may feel like you have to jump into things, that you may need to force things, or you're just trying to release that pressure to get free. So that's one of the things to kind of notice during this time period is how much pressure there is. And this is mutative pressure, meaning that this is the pressure to change. This is the pressure to step into something new. Now, I just wanted to quickly go through this, and then I'd like to hear from our panel as well. I think it's really fascinating also to just map on the holidays and when the new year actually starts. Onto this map as well. So it's really interesting that where the pressure starts actually is in 58. And 58 is about joyous vitality. And it always happens around December 25th. right? So it's, you know, the perfect time to really celebrate, you know, and have the lights and the joy and the getting together with family. So it really is this time of joyous vitality. But it's very interesting, after that joyous vitality, we move into the fighter of the 38. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today. That's going to be the first stage. And so this is one of the reasons why you don't want to, if you do set New Year's resolutions, which I don't know about New Year's resolutions, but if you do set them, you wait, because here, you know, there's the tension of the fighter fighting for purpose and meaning, which we'll talk about more today. And then the other thing we're going to talk about today, which we are now in, is stage 2, which is about drive. And this is really about also finding your allies as well. So we'll talk a bit more about that in just a moment. And then in the next couple of weeks, we'll take a look at stage 3 and stage 4, the 61 and the 60. And then where things actually move into something new is in stage 5. This is the 41 is the start codon. We move into that in January 22nd. So January 22nd. So that's really where this is about a time for completion, wrapping things up before we really start something new. And where we can then start something new then is in that stage 5. So Nathalie or Lavina, anything that you would like to add about what we're taking a look at here and taking a look at these, taking a look at these stages?
Lavina, do you want to say something?
You know, as I look at this, one of the common questions that people have is, what do you mean start codon? And why is it here? Why isn't it in 13, where we have the beginning of the first quarter of initiation? And the thing that we want to take a look at here, what is this that's giving us this energy, you know, to move through here? And that is the ability to start to have not only the new cycle of development and experience, but the imagination to achieve something when it comes to progress, when it comes to change and growth. And that everything starts with the pressure to fantasize and to feel, and that's 41. So in every single genetic sentence, that codon, the one that starts every genetic sentence, it's 41. And so this is why we see that as the sun moves through these different traits or gate activations, the 41 is what really kicks off a new cycle of development and experience. And Pluto, as we know, is currently in 61, where that yellow stream is. And the energy that transforms these gate activations or traits, Pluto, is our truth, transformation, and psychology. And that's what's changing or evolving us as a species. So before we had this human design system, we had the seven-centered, you know, being, and that element of us changing over to a new evolutionary cycle was when the last time that Pluto went through these particular gate activations, these traits, the 41 was the start of that. So that we're at a momentous occasion in our lives, and I can't help but think of that when we look at this, because that's exactly where Pluto is right now, moving through these traits as our sun is also going there. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen this coming Saturday, because there's going to be a whole bunch of planetary activations in that 61. And I don't know if you guys feel it, but I feel a lot of pressure and stress. There's alternately some moments of inspiration, but there's also all of this heaviness that I'm personally dealing with. So I don't know what it's like for you guys. Anything for you and Nathalie? Because I know that you have the same kind of configuration as me. Both of our moon, our driving force, is in 61.
Yeah, that's true. But contrary to you, I have the driving stamina defined myself. Mm-hmm. So for me, I don't feel the pressure so much, but I can notice it in my daughter, and she's also complaining about headaches, for instance.
Mm-hmm. And, I've been having headaches.
I'm having this. So personally, I don't feel it, and I'm just more like, you know, looking out what is happening, what's everybody saying. And but I do, yeah, we're going to talk about the stages. I do notice just somebody today or yesterday emailed me, I want to call you, that I haven't been talking to in half a year. He's really kind of, you know, putting people in places again to move forward. Yeah, it's interesting. And if someone wonders where the article is, it's in the blog post on our website. So that's where you can find the article about these stages.
Yeah. And maybe we can copy and put it in the chat too.
Let's do that.
Yeah, so really, really great article in taking a look at really how to start the year. And I think, you know, what Lavina was talking about, you know, with that pressure, it's interesting. I have moments on and off. I do not have drive and stamina defined, and so I can feel sort of the outside pressure. And I've just noticed today that I've just had moments today of kind of just like anxiety, but not knowing why or where or, you know, what's up. And so just realize that if you do feel, just like what Lavina was saying, if you do feel like you're under pressure, and maybe not all of you will feel that, just like Nathalie was saying, but if you do feel like you're under pressure, if you feel headaches, if you feel a little anxiety and you can't quite figure out why you're having that bit of anxiety, it may be because, you know, of all of the pressure that's happening and that we're going through. So let's start with taking a look at this stage and the different stages. And remember, if we took a look back here, where New Year's actually fell, and we haven't done BG5 live for a while, so we're kind of catching up here. So in stage one, the stage one was when we had New Year's. And again, this is the fighter. And so during that time, there is a lot of tension. So the energy on New Year's Eve brings tension instead of completion. So really this period between now and January 22nd is really a time to kind of get everything set, everything complete, so that then we can really get started on the 21st. And so one of the things to take a look at in this first stage is taking a look at what is your why. So the energy there is there to look back and to see what worked and to see what didn't work. So taking a look at, did you find purpose? You know, on the other side, what the fighter is always looking for, the fighter is looking for purpose and meaning in life. So do you have purpose? Do you have meaning? Have you found it in the past? What, you know, this all plays into what your why is. You know, did you find your spirit? You know, on the other side, we have the 39 that is, you know, searching for spirit, right? And that abundance of spirit. So did you find your spirit?
Yeah, that's the grounding of it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, was last year fulfilling? And was last year fulfilling? So really taking a look and sort of asking yourself these questions so that you can see, you know, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What excites you? What motivates you? What moves you forward? So really kind of taking a look at and exploring what is your why? What gets you excited? So anything, Nathalie and Lavina, that you would like to add?
Yeah, for those of us who have a 28 on the other side, hi, you know, this time of the year when we go through this stage of tension, it can be a struggle. So just to be okay with that and to know that, you know, finding your purpose, it's a fight, but it's a meaningful fight. And sometimes other people don't necessarily hear what you're saying about what's meaningful to you, but just stubbornly be tenacious and fight for what you know to be right for yourself.
Yeah, beautifully said. How about for you, Nathalie?
Yeah, and also, so this is from New Year's until Sunday or yesterday. It depends on the part of the world you're at. And so the first week of New Year's is always this kind of tension, and you know, you have this feeling of, oh, this is a brand new, you know, whatever, let's jump in. But actually it's kind of contradictory energy is holding you back, and more of contemplation and etc. So that's also why a lot of New Year's resolutions within the first week go like, there's all this tension going on. And that's these steps all about. So if you make any, wait until January 22nd when we've done all these stages and the energy is backing you up.
Yeah.
But so my sister also read the article, and she was like, should I know what my purpose is? I said, no, it's about just feeling out, what makes you happy, what gets you out of bed, as you say, and what adds meaning to your day, what do you want to do, what was fulfilling, and to take that and what wasn't, and to be able to say, okay, so I took this route, but that path is not really me, or it doesn't excite me, so it wasn't fulfilling. Maybe take it into account and maybe let it go. Just be with it.
Yeah, really good point. And contemplating what is your why. It's kind of like, what are you willing to fight for? Yeah. Like where's the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah. What is it that you love to do? And for me personally, in answering what is my why, I am doing what I love, and I love what I do, and I feel like this makes a difference. It gives people an opportunity to really just relax into being you, so you can just be you. And I think, I've done a lot of analysis and overviews over the holiday, and this is always the biggest feedback that I get is, wow, I can, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay in just being me. And when you find and can you relax into just being you, that's where you can really find what your purpose is, what you're here to do, what you're here to accomplish, what motivates you, what inspires you, what lights you up, because that's what's going to allow us to bring our true gifts to the world, versus just going to a job just to get a paycheck. That's not what life is about, right? So really finding something and doing something that you're passionate about and making money at the same time, being able to pay the bills, doing what you love, and that's really what we talk about and cover in BG5.
Yeah, and it is a good thing to contemplate about. I just got got this newsletter from Forbes and the articles they have, and there was written like 80% of the people are thinking about changing job, and 60% probably will in the next year. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. In America, it was about America, but still, it's so yeah, it's probably not a waste to contemplate on what you really want.
Right. Exactly. And one of the things that we focus here on in BG5 is we really take a look at this. This is the business and, career application of the human design system. So when we're taking a look at our business, if you own a business, whether it be a smaller business or a larger business, or even if we take a look at ourselves, even if we have a job or career, taking a look at that why is something that, every business needs to look at. What's your mission? What's your vision? Why are you doing what you are doing? Because that's what's going to have you as an individual, sort of as your own business, or what's going to have your business, take flight, is really actually knowing what you're fighting for.
You saying that probably like the New Year's plans or the plans for 2020, we shouldn't write or have concrete before the 22nd either, right? Like you have it personally, but,
right.
But in business as well.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very good point. Yeah.
Maybe we should go with the Chinese. What is Chinese New Year? Chinese New Year is somewhere soon, right?
Yeah.
When is it exactly? Do we know?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. They are maybe more on track than we are.
So yeah, so the first step is
25th.
25th. So very, very, very close.
Compatible, yeah.
So yeah, so really taking a look at and starting with what is your why.
Yeah.
And the step that we're currently in is taking a look at now that you know what your why is, who are your allies? Who are the ones that can help you rise up? So the stage 2 is about ambition. So once we have our why, the next thing to do is examine the who. So this is a time to examine the who is in your life. So who do you respond to? Who recognizes you or who does not recognize you? Who do you impact or who impacts you? Also taking a look at who is healthy for you or who is not healthy for you. So we do not live in a bubble. We live in communication and connection with others. And again, in focusing on the business aspect of the human design system, one of the things that we take a look at is we take a look at, how do you work in partnership? How do you work in small groups? How do you work in larger groups? So really taking a look at who are your allies? Who's going to be on your side fighting with you? Who is going to support you even when you're struggling? So really taking a look at, who really belongs in your life and who may be tying you down, who might be, disrupting you, right? Where we take a look at those sort of energetics, if you will, in the BG5 certification and understanding those dynamics. So really understanding who are your allies moving forward, because we all get conditioned and we're conditioned whether we're aware of it or not. And you can be conditioned in positive ways as well as negative ways, so who are the allies that are actually conditioning you in healthy and positive ways? So yes, Nathalie, did you have something to add?
Yeah, it's so funny. I didn't realize, but today I saw a person in my life that really supports and cheers me. And it's a former manager, and she's now retired. But I see, especially when I started my business, I asked her to be my kind of mentor, and to have a regular meeting with her, to have someone at least, because you're a solopreneur, to as a soundboard.
Right.
And I hadn't seen her in a while. She didn't even have seen my haircut. Can you imagine? I was like, really? Didn't we? So we hadn't met in person. And then today, starting the new year, looking forward, we met. And it's really, and we went on a walk through the forest, really nice where she lives. Just, contemplating and thinking about, and also, yes, we talked about the who. So I talked about you, Karen. You are some who in my life, and the team, and and yeah, for me personally, really that I'm kind of on track here, teaching. I love teaching, and yeah. So it's so funny that I saw her right in stage 2.
Yeah.
And this other who that I talked to, it's something I had take how you say said goodbye to.
Right. Exactly.
So it was nice to hear from him after a while, but it's
interesting. Yeah. How about for you, Lavina?
One of the things that comes to mind for me, because I have a 32 on the other side, is just recognizing how many 53, 54s particularly come into my life and how important they are. This being the drive or the beginning, the start of the stream of capitalism that helps us make money in business, helps us literally make money. This is the root of everything. So it's really, really important for not only everybody who's in your life, but particularly for those like me with the 32 on the other side, who is actually someone that you recognize that together you can partner up and move up the ladder, so to speak, of ambition and drive and making things turn into money at the end of the story. So, or at the end of the journey, at the end of the road. It's a really, really important activation to know about in yourself, what you have and how you hook up with others.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I was thinking about ambition as well, you know, ties into what you just said, Lavina. Oftentimes when we think of ambition, we think of it as something that's very selfish, you know, that this person is, driving forward and it only cares about themselves. But what's very, very interesting about ambition is ambition cannot happen alone.
Yeah.
It's very tribal. And it needs that connection with others. So I think it's interesting, sort of that dichotomy of how we typically think of ambition, and really what we're taking a look at when we look at ambition is taking a look at who are your allies, who do you connect with, who supports you, who helps you rise up, right? Because we don't exist in a vacuum. We need each other. And that's what makes it so important. This is actually, my birthday was actually on Sunday. So this is actually part of my life work theme as well. So this is something that I'm very, very familiar with.
Yeah, and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. So it's the start of my new year.
Does it feel better now that you've passed that point? Oh, good.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, the last couple months especially have just been really, have felt really tense for me. And I've gone through a lot of, ups and downs, and my mom's doing great. My mom had a stroke, so taking care of her, and just a lot of things just seemed a bit in upheaval. And one of the things that we also talk about in the article that Nathalie wrote is waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting, and how important waiting is. And, especially with all this pressure, with all this tension, and, and again, when we're taking a look at who our allies are, we want to take time and we want to wait to see who do we respond to, who recognizes, and invites us, who are we impacting, etc. So it's really important to have this, in a sense, period to wait. And, that time right before your birthday as well, sometimes it's kind of like, everything's kind of rearranging. And now it's like, finally feel like myself again. So, yeah. And I think it's going to be, as Nathalie said, I think it's going to be a really magical year. So let's just take a look, since we are in the 54, let's just take a little deeper look at this trait of drive. Again, it is the drive to rise up. And again, in both of these pictures, there's a helping hand, if you will. They're not doing it alone. They're only able to rise up, with the support of others. So it's interaction. Right? So again, it's the interaction with others in its mundane social context, but also one's mystical and cosmic relationships. So it's very interesting that this is, in a sense, both the most material, just like Lavina was talking about, it's the material stream of capitalism. It's, it's the most, down to earth material, and trait 4, which we'll enter into tomorrow, I believe, is also the most spiritual as well. So you have that, the most spiritual of all traits and the most mundane or material of all traits as well. And so this interaction is, mundane interaction, but it can also be, the interaction with the cosmos, the interaction with God or the universe or something higher as well. And this is about the transformation that's possible through mastering instincts. It's pointing to instincts. So it's really being in tune with, like who's going to help and who's not going to help, and really trusting your instincts there. And it's the pressure to be recognized by others. And the 54 may not recognize that they're trying to get attention, but the 54 wants to rise up. And if you switch the numbers, we have the 45. The 45 is the king or queen. This is the marrying maiden, which means that it's the concubine that becomes the empress. And so it is this starting on the, on the shop room floor and raising up and rising up to be, the CEO or the president, right? So, so there is this element. And again, in order to get there, in order to rise up, you need the help of others. And so really knowing, which allies, when you connect with them, will help you in this process and who will not. And again, I just, I also have a collaborative assimilation as well. So I am designed to work collaboratively, designed to work in teams, designed to work in larger groups. And I feel so blessed to have Nathalie and Lavina and Chris and all of the other trainers. Juan Jose is here, that are on the team of the BG5 Business Institute. Is just really a pleasure and an honor, and really feel supported, and feel that I have allies in working together, in really supporting getting this information out, so that that we can live more ourselves, so that businesses can run by honoring individuals, and that, we really can create a better world. So anything that you guys would like to add about this 54? Or I also want to open it up to if there's any questions or any comments from those in our Zoom room or those in our Facebook Live as well.
Yeah, we have a question from Anita. She's asking, until which date is the WHO, the 54? And right now that 54 changes over on January 11th around 6 a.m. Into the 61. So that's when it's going to shift.
Yeah.
6 a.m. Pacific?
What is this telling me? I believe that is, this is this mountain for me? I think that one is mountain. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
If you're looking at my body graph, that's your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
And as far as that ambition that you were talking about, Karen, I believe it's a very important concept to reiterate, that this is not about ambition for oneself, but it's about bringing your tribe up with you. Who is it that is your family, your people that you're supporting, and that mutually support each other, so that everyone can rise up together, and it gets distributed. The wealth gets distributed back to everyone who's contributing to the support of the community or the business, whatever it happens to be. In this context, it's more about the making of the money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that's a really important piece to realize in anything that's tribal, is that if you do it in a selfish way, as I was talking about earlier, we often think of ambition as a, as a very selfish thing. But if you do any of the tribal elements, any of the tribal traits in a very selfish way, it doesn't work out. And again, this is the drive. So not only do you rise yourself up, you rise everyone else up with you.
Yeah, and it's also to rise up yourself to then see others and help others to rise up, right? So
yes,
it's getting somewhere, and you're willing to work hard to get there, and then you are able to do the same for others. So that's where the stairs goes to the 32.
Yep. And it's very transformative, right? It's, it's mutative. And so it's kind of going where nobody's gone before. And so if you can go there first, right, then you can show people, yes, it is possible. You can do that, so that's a part of ambition as well. And when we take a look at what the quality is, it's covert interactions, the pioneer. So when we take a look at the elevation of this is the ability, when stymied in formal relationships, to use secret or purely informal channels when it is the only result. This is the drive, when blocked, to use secret means to fuel ambition. So that's the elevation. And the challenge is the insistence that formal channels, no matter how frustrating, can be overcome by the power of attraction. This is the energy of ambition when blocked, will fuel the power of attraction to overcome an obstacle. And here's just a little story, just to kind of this sort of covert interaction. Most of the jobs that I've ever gotten have not been by simply applying. It's because I've known somebody already working there. So for example, when I graduated from college, I moved to Los Angeles, and I had a friend who was working, actually a couple friends that were working at ABC television in Hollywood. And so I had called up that friend, and we were going to get together. He was going to help me do my resume and everything. And he said, oh, well, on Sunday, he's like, well, I didn't expect to have to work, but I'm going to have to work. If you want to come in and work for the day. I'm like, sure. So I came in on Monday to fill out the paperwork to get paid, and they offered me a part-time job. So I got to LA on a Thursday. I was working at ABC television by Sunday. And it was through the purely informal channel that I was able to get in and get the job without having to go through those formal channels, right? So that's the covert interaction. Again, it's either secret or purely informal. It was an informal channel. It was a friend of mine, you know, that just happened to need some help, and I helped and ended up getting a job. So most of the jobs that I've ever gotten have happened in one way or another through this, you know, purely informal channel. So that's what that's about. Any questions or any observations or anything that you guys want to add or see?
Well, that's such a great story, Karen. I'm glad you told it here because it's a beautiful example of this. And those of us who have a third quality in our personality profile, we can actually identify with this. So hi, I'm an example of that. And I can think of our interaction, our relationship, because my position at the BG5 Business Institute wasn't advertised for. You know, this is tribal. This is about who you know. And the covert interaction is, it's not a big old deal out in the world. It's just, you know, individuals, you know, coming to some kind of bargain or give and take in an interaction that's supportive for both. So I definitely resonate with this particular aspect. It's a lot of who you know, in the tribe.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and also if you see an ad for something you'd like, finding out how it works, see if you have searching through your LinkedIn, if you know someone who knows someone, or you know, and then get to know how the things work at that company, and then you know, applying, or the assistance that formal channels, no matter how frustrating, can be overcome by the power of attraction. So just, you know, go in with yourself and see what happens. Actually, the way Karen was just there, and then they offered her a job. So yeah, it's really about yeah, kind of knowing what plays underneath to be able to play the game, of how it operates.
Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, the BG5 system is a beautiful one to to use. You can maybe see how the game works, and then, you know, take advantage of that.
Right, knowing how the game plays, knowing how they operate. Yep. Yeah.
And we have a question in our Zoom room. So Belinda says she loves what we're sharing, and can you elaborate on mastering instincts and drive?
Yeah. This is actually part of my life work theme as well. And so with
maybe
the life work, let me go
to the next one. Maybe not to your to Elvis. It's over there.
Whoops, hold on. I need to move this here. Yeah. So this is part of my life work theme. And so there's the 57 on the other side, but it points towards, you know, it points to instinctive knowing. It points to the survival instinct. And so this is what it's looking for, what it's pointing to. And so it's being able to, in a sense, be really in tune with like who is correct and who is not correct, right? Trusting, in a sense, the instincts of who's going to be able to support you, you know, and who you're going to be able to support, and you know, what can be very fertile and what can be, you know, something that's not so fertile. You know, who can, you know, who's going to, you know, be of a support and who's not going to be of support. So it's sort of the underlying tribal instinct, you know, to know who's correct or not.
Yeah, and that's actually in general also the stage that we're in for the new year, thinking about your allies.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And who's there and not. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything, Lavina, that you'd like to add to that as well?
Well, more specifically, when I think about mastering instincts and drive, you know, there are 3 different ways that that can happen. So right here, we're looking at the tribal way. Drive, merging up with the instinct, we're looking at the 5432. That's the tribal instinct. And mastering the drive that is going up into the intuition, that's the struggle, that's the tenaciousness, that's the fighting spirit that we were talking about last week. Oops, the last 38. Yeah. And then we have the collective logical way of mastering our instincts and our drive. And when we're here to master something, it's something that is a talent or a gift of ours, right? So we're more technically looking at a definition in the body graph from the drive and stamina up to the instinctive knowing. So everybody's going to master things differently. For Karen, in her example, she's got a very specific wisdom and learning potential that is her core essence of who she is on the personality side. So it's not a specific channel or strength that's going to be totally unique to her. She's got flexibility, and wherever we have flexibility, because this is an undefined functions, these 2 activations here, where we have flexibility, we have wisdom potential, we have lots and lots of growth, and we have a potential for making money. So that's a really interesting thing that I'm thinking about when I see that word and I'm going, oh, more specifically, what's going on here? And for Karen, it's the tribal way. What is the tribal way to success, the tribal path to success? That's her life work. Yep. So that's what you're here to master.
Yeah. And with that mastery, remember the 54 wants to be the 45, right? It wants to rise up to, you know, and if you switch the numbers, it becomes the 45. And so, you know, in order to be able to rise up, there's a need to be able to master something. That's part of how you rise up.
To get the instincts, and you have a drive to rise up.
Yeah, exactly. And Elvis was born today. So this is Elvis Presley, singer, actor. He has 54-3 as his core essence in his life work. So Elvis is an American, or was an American singer and actor, and he's regarded as one of the most significant cultural icons of the 20th century. And he's often referred to as the king of rock and roll, or simply the king. So again, that rising up, you know, to ultimately become the king or queen, right? The 54 becoming the 45, which I thought was really fascinating. And we share the same life work theme. This is the life work theme of penetration. So you are on the path from rags to riches and are recognized by those higher up the ladder, aligning with higher and even mystical forces. And so, you know, so really taking a look at, you know, he started from very, very humble beginnings, right? Sort of, you know, sort of the rags to riches type story of, you know, starting from very, you know, they grew up in a very small house and everything else, and you know, the fame that he rose to and becoming, in a sense, the king. I was looking at a bunch of other people who were born with this 54-3, and again, you'll see a lot of names that you recognize that have this particular trait. So I invite you to explore that and see who else has you know, 54 as part of their life work theme. Very cool.
Yeah, so Belinda says, happy birthday, Karen, and her sister has it too.
Yes.
And Nina has a wonderful contribution. Said, typically at the start of the year, we think about ourselves and how we're going to make it happen for ourselves. I love this is opening up the consideration of working with others, both in helping and receiving help.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
what it is about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where we're really moving towards. You know, I like talking a lot about what, you know, the transition that we're going to and moving towards in 2027. And, you know, it's very individual, but what's very interesting is that the more individual you become, the more authentic you can connect with others.
Yeah.
The more real you can be in connecting with others without all of this superficial stuff. And oftentimes, you know, that superficial stuff is really,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of forced, or it's not real.
Yeah.
You know, we're moving into a time of, in a sense, this awakening where we're really waking up to who we are so that we can connect to each other at a deeper and more profound way. You know, really connecting through, you know, through spirit, connecting through, you know, doing what we love, loving what we do, and becoming really the puzzle piece that we're here to do, the puzzle piece that we're here to provide, you know, in this puzzle of life. Wonderful. Well, cool. Well, great way to start the new year. And again, if you are new to BG5 or to human design and you'd like to get a free report, you can go to the BG5businessinstitute.com and you can learn more about your unique career design and how you're designed to make decisions. Also, huge invitation for all of you. We have our courses that are starting here in January. So love to invite all of you to join. We have the first class, and actually Belinda is going to be assisting. So she's going to be assisting Banu in the BG5 Foundation course that's starting on Thursday, and then Lavina has another BG5 Foundation course that is starting on January 26th. So it's on a Sunday. So you have two options to start the BG5 Foundation course. I don't know if Lavina, if there's anything that you would like to say about the foundation course.
Yeah, for this foundation course, it's kind of unique in that we're doing it later in the afternoon. So for those of you who are overseas in Asia or in, you know, Australia, we also have someone that's available to translate it into Chinese. So if that's something that's interesting for you, please feel free to write for further information. And I'm looking forward to meeting some of you in the foundation course, hopefully coming up soon.
Yeah, beautiful. And I don't know, Lavina, if you can grab the link to the, because you can also sign up for Lavina's class as well to get the first class free also. And then I'm going to start the BG5 Career and Business Consultant Certification course. That starts in January as well. It's the January 21st. So it's on a Tuesday. So if you have the prerequisites, so if you've taken the BG5 Foundation course, or if you've taken the BG5, or I'm sorry, if you've taken the Human Design Foundation courses, which are Living Your Design, Rave ABCs, and Rave Cartography, you also qualify. Those are the prerequisites to join the BG5 Career and Business Consultant Certification course. So if you want to use this information with clients, this is a great opportunity. And again, you can attend the first class free, so you can get a feel for what it's all about. All right. And of course, if you want to see any of our past BG5 Live episodes, you can take a look at our calendar. This will also be a place where you can find and sign up for our first class free. And you can also check us out on YouTube or Vimeo as well. All right, let's wrap up for today. And any last words to wrap up today, and next week we will continue our process and our steps into starting the new year. So, so Nathalie, yes.
Yeah, so take it easy, wait, just, you know, let it go through and look at the article, what you should consider, or what is, you know, where the energy is about to consider, and we'll see each other next week. Looking forward to have the next steps.
Yeah, definitely. Beautiful. Thank you, Nathalie. And Lavina.
So Gabrielle was asking about Elvis. Is he a projector or a generator? And in the human design language, we have a generator, which we call classic builder in the BG5 language. So that's the answer to that. There he is. And just so much that we could say about this particular design. One of the things you notice is that he's got that strength that is the 4130. So right there, that fantasy, that imagination. And as we move closer to the beginning of the rave new year, or our human design new year, just keep a hold on your horses and wait for that energy to really come to fruition for you. You know, use your decision-making strategy to make your decisions, and always, of course, first and foremost, but just it sometimes we can utilize some of this energy that the whole world is being bathed in right now, and to just know a little bit about what's happening helps ease things for you when you're feeling very pressurized and stressed in this holiday time, the new year. Whole January can feel really pressurized and stressful. So to just take it easy and relax, kick back, enjoy the movie, and love yourself.
Yeah, beautifully, beautifully said. And this, you know, can potentially be a very intense week. You know, as we took a look at in the very beginning, you know, we're still under a lot of pressure. You know, what we took a look at here, we're under a lot of pressure. So just like what Nathalie and Lavina said, be gentle with yourself, you know, relax, allow things to happen. When you feel the pressure, notice the pressure, right? Notice the pressure, but it doesn't mean that you have to act. Only act if it is correct, just like Lavina said, in following your decision-making strategy. And we look forward to continuing this journey as we step forward into 2020 and stepping forward into 2020 in the correct way. And so remember, the first two steps, as we took a look at, was really step one, you know, what is your why? And again, this is true both for ourselves individually, but also taking a look at your business as well. What is your why? And then who are your allies? So that's what there is to contemplate over the next week. And we look forward to seeing you all next week when we will continue. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us and starting off this brand new year. And we'll see you all next week.
Yay!
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.